Hello everybody and welcome to more Bandit Survivor, but just with a little bit less effort. And today we have a really interesting game concept that we're going to be talking about on the channel. So if you remember a few weeks ago I talked about Castaway Island, which is a brand new game that's going to be coming out on the Switch. And this is a game that you can actually order right now, and I'm not sure internationally if you can order it right now. But if you're an individual that is from America, you should be able to grab this game if you want. And it is basically a Survivor-inspired card game. So I talked about how Castaway Island is on the Switch and the PS4, and it's a digital game. This is a card game, and it would appeal a little bit more to individuals like myself. I'm very much into my card games, and my friends and I, we constantly play card games every time we meet up, which isn't super often because we're all at different universities. We would find a new card game to play, and then have chaos basically every time we meet up and try and learn the new rules of the card game. But this one here, it seems very reminiscent to like One Deck Dungeon, if you played that game, where you have all these different cards. You've got your Camp Life cards, you've got your Tribunal cards, and they can drastically change the game and the events within the game, and you basically have to ensure that you're keeping your individuals that are your cards alive and in the game. So do you have what it takes to be the ultimate castaway? Challenge your friends and fam, very slang, in this fun Survivor inspired card game that provides a unique experience with every play. So they're saying now, buy now, so yeah, we can click on that. It is, see, I believe that this is manufactured and created in South Africa, if I am correct. The individual who does the demo video, which we'll quickly be covering, I won't be going through the full demo video, but I'll be just talking about like the general points from it. Had a South African accent, and the initial currency that came up was South African currency, so I'm pretty sure that this is originally from South Africa. However, if you're from Australia, it costs you 50 Australian dollars. If you're from America, it's 35 USD, US dollars. And if you're from the UK like myself, it's £25. So pretty comparable to other card games out there in the market that you'll see about, from here in the UK anyway, about £20 to £30. So it seems pretty reasonably priced, especially for all the features that come with it. So introducing the second greatest game on Earth, which is a fun play on Survivor being considered the greatest game on Earth. So take control of any one of the 18 unique castaways, each with their own unique profile, character traits, and skills breakdown. So I like firstly that they went with 18, because this is a card game, as they talk about later on in the video, that you generally want to play with 1 to 3 players. You can play with more obviously, but 18 was very good for giving them a lot of options, because 18 obviously is divisible by 1, 2, 3, 6, and even if you're playing with 4 people or 5 people like some of these card games have, then you can still just have a 15-person cast or 16-person cast, which still will allow for a decently sized game. And generally these card games aim to have 2 to 6 players, so you can play with 2 to 6 players. In fact, the individual in the demo video even says that his personal preference is 9 players. So if you get 9 players in a room, you can all have 2 players and control them all. Well, control the 2 players and have the tribes go head to head. So navigate your way through the unpredictable island life, game-changing twists, and life-draining challenges. So there are unique challenge cards, as we see here, and basically they require your contestants' skill sets to be able to match attributes. There's 2 different types of challenges. There's one which are head-to-head, where you just have to have the better stats in a required field. So it could be something like, as we see here, it could be something like memory, or it could be something like dexterity. You have to have a higher skill level than the opposing person on the tribe, and if you do, you win a point. So think about like Sumo at Sea, where it's like your one-on-one challenges, and then you score a point for your tribe if you're the victor. That's one aspect of the challenges. The other one is that you have to do a challenge course, and you have to meet the requirements. So a challenge course, you might need like a strength of 8 to be able to move something heavy, and then you might need a puzzle set of 7 to be able to complete like a slide puzzle in the challenge. And if you can't complete it with your character, then they lose health, which we'll talk about as well, which is a very important mechanic of the game. Actually, they talk about life draining challenges, so might as well say it. As you see here, there is a health mechanic here. So every contestant starts off with 10 health, and they have a little slider at the bottom that you can clip on, and through tribe life events, through challenge events, your contestants can lose health. So you can lose like 2 health if a tribe event happens, and then you have to go down to 8. And if you keep going down until you hit 0, your contestants can actually get medevac, or medically evacuated, as you would normally say. So when they get medically evacuated, they're just taken out of the game. So you have to make sure that you're helping your contestants, you're keeping them healthy, and of course there's cards as well that will restore health for your contestants as well. So you have to use your own unique mix of social gameplay and in-game strategy. You get to decide when you'll work with a fellow player or choose to blindside or betray them as you play to be the last castaway standing. So I think that this is a game that the more people you have, the more fun it is, because you can play this game by yourself, and it's very reminiscent to like brandsteel.com, where you can simulate an entire Survivor season in like an hour and just see what happens. And this has the fun as well, where you're picking up cards. And Brandsteel is a bit predictable in terms of its alliance structures and gameplay structures. This one could just be all over the place, and you as the player actually have control of what can happen. So you can very much decide if someone's going to be the target of the vote or not. So you can, it's fully viable to play by yourself. Again, I'm going to compare it to this game. It's very similar to One Deck Dungeon, that you can play with others or you can play by yourself, and both are just as enjoyable. But I feel like this game, from my perspective, just looking in from the outside perspective, excuse me while I drink some Prime, it seems like the more players you have, the more fun it's going to be, because then you have the human element of going up against different humans and then actually trying to talk with your friends, like, no, keep my character in. If you keep my character in, I'll keep your character, and we can have an alliance here. And that might not be as achievable with smaller groups of people, like 2 or 3. That's just my perspective anyway. But there are, as you see here, these player cards. So there's 18 unique player cards. There are sort of 6 in each category that have, I'm trying to think of like the right word. They have it as their strength, basically. So there's 6 that have physical as their strength, like this yoga instructor here, you see the little star. The psychiatrist here has the mental stats as their highest, which is at 40. And then a hairdresser has the social stat as the highest. So you have all these different bios, and you have all these different, as you see, jobs here, and like character bios. So a lot of effort and time went into this game, and I really do appreciate it, as well as the art style, which I think looks really cool. It's very reminiscent to, what was the game? Survivor Castaway Island, sort of that art style that they are using in their game that's coming up in, it's actually almost a month now, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. We're getting a lot of stuff in October, but let's go down here. So how the game works. So depending on the player count, you will take control of 1 to 3 castaway characters whose identity will be only known to you. So yeah, you divide the cards up, and then you only check them out, and you keep them in mind. This is going to keep flipping. Don't really like that. But then you get to know what characters you're controlling, and get to play through the game as that. So I'll quickly read through this. So both players and castaways are randomly divided into 2 teams, each with physical, mental and social characters. The arrival of daily meal and camp cards causes uncertainty and chaos in the camp and around the table as teams deliberate how to best play the hand dealt to them. So there is an even divide between the teams on who gets like a physical contestant. So if you're playing with like 3 people, for example, you would get 2 physical, 2 mental and 2 social. Hopefully this stops it from scrolling. And as you can see here, people are playing, so like they're dividing up the cards, they're seeing their contestants, and they're trying to like compare like the stats. And then off the challenges we go. The contestants are totally random, and the choice of lineup and who will sit out can determine the final outcome. So there's a bit of strategy as well to, when you see a challenge, making sure that you're sitting out the right people and picking the correct lineups to ensure that you can obviously avoid the tribal council, or as they call it in this game, for I'm pretty sure legal reasons, tribunal, because they can't completely copy Survivor, even though it is a Survivor inspired game. They do have to have some different words. The losing team will make their way to the Outcast Tribunal, while 1 castaway will be voted out of the game. Not so fast tribunal twist cards or personal advantages are real, and when played will induce a crazy tribunal experience. So yes, there are tribunal cards, and there's 2 different types of tribunal cards. There's ones that are played before the votes, so people can be able to anticipate them a little bit more, or there's after the votes, and these are basically like your twists that you'd see in Australian Survivor, Survivor or Survivor US, where they change up the game and they can grant people immunity and so on. And I believe there's also amulets that you can find in tribe life, in your tribe life cards, that you can give to contestants to be able to keep themselves safe and play to ensure their safety. So there's that. Once down to 10 castaways, the merge is on the horizon, bringing with it a shift in the game. So obviously in Survivor we have our merge. I'm sure you can integrate swaps into this game if you want. The general game doesn't seem to suggest that if you're playing by the rules there's a swap. I think it's just one tribe versus the other tribe, and then you whittle down and then go into the merge, sort of like how Palau did it. So hopefully no one that's playing this game gets new longing where they just keep on losing contestants, but that seems to be the general plan. Again, you can do a swap at 16, at 14 if you want to. I mean, it's your own game, so I'm sure if you can devise a set strategy for that, then that will be completely fair. At this stage, players now need to look out for themselves. Can you be confronted with the big question: stay true to your alliance or backstab and blindside? So this is basically the merge situation in Survivor, where the two tribes come together and it becomes more of an individual game. There are events that do replicate the merge individual mentality from Survivor, such as individual immunity. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's like individual power or like safety power or something, but basically it operates like individual immunity, where you win a challenge then you can't be voted out. So it has the same aspect as that. They also have new merge cards as well, so it kind of throws a spanner in the works for gameplay and redevises some mechanics for that round. So those are again making the game super interesting. And it is a game where, obviously, because I guess technically it's RNG based, where you're shuffling the cards and you're randomizing them every time, you can end up with an infinite amount of possibilities. You can end up with basically an infinite amount of way to play seasons, and there's so many different twists that can catch you off guard, can halt your strategies, can make you have to use new strategies. So it definitely is interesting from that perspective. And then you've made it once the final two, so it's the final two in this game. You will have the final Outcast Tribunal, where the players must answer to the Outcast panel and state why they believe that they should be awarded the title of the ultimate castaway. So similar to Survivor, I think the jury might be from the final 9 on, so once the merge hits, the merge boot might not be part of the jury. I don't think they ever, from the video I've watched and from this that I've seen, they don't actually state when the jury begins, so I'm sure you can have a 10-person or the final 10 jury if you want to, or final 9 if you want to keep it odd numbers, which generally they do in modern Survivor. Yeah, this is what I can imagine if you're playing the card game with a group of friends. It's just everyone's having a look at the stats and trying to ensure that they're getting their people on their side to win. So that's basically everything for that, and then they're going to do a quick rundown of all the different elements in the box. So again, so much is available in this game. There are your character cards, there's your different camp life cards and stuff, there's your challenge cards, there's your event cards. So an incredible amount of work and effort has went into this game. I do have to say, I am not endorsed by this company. I have no affiliation with the company, so I am not being paid anything for this video. I also am planning to do a more Bandit Survivor video on this topic, like I did with Survivor Castaway Island. But I have to say, just for legal reasons, I am not endorsed whatsoever by this company. I'm not making any money off this, so like they haven't came up to me and they haven't asked me if they want to do an advertisement. I actually found this out because I'm in a lot of Survivor-based Facebook group chats, and they were advertising there like a week ago, so I decided, oh, you know what, that's cool. So I did say to them, you know, I'll shout this out on my channel, and you know, they seem very keen about that, but they never came to me and said that they'll give me any sort of financial benefit or benefit generally for this. And I am also saying that because in a few weeks time there is also another Survivor product that will be coming out that I am affiliated with, so that's why this one I'm not affiliated with. In a few weeks time, when the other thing comes out, which some of you may already know, that is something that I am affiliated with and I do benefit from, and I will be very transparent about that when I do make videos about it. But yeah, I just felt like I had to say that. So 18 characters are stranded on the island, competing to be the ultimate castaway. Will you dominate as a physical threat, or can you take a strategic player to the end, or maybe you'll backstab your way to victory with one of those sneaky social players? So there's a lot of different elements here. on this. Now, it does say about how like the characters are single and stuff, so I don't know if there's tribe cards that sort of allude to like a showmance or whatever. Excuse me, there's character stats here about like how like they can be lazy, or they can be selfish, or they can be courageous. So there's also like these sort of character traits as well that could play into the game. But all these different characters are like custom designed, so I think that's super cool. Again, we've got like a fireman, hairdresser, video gamer, so I think that's really awesome. There's camp life. There's never a dull moment with these cards in play. Use them wisely and you'll cause chaos as you progress your castaway closer to the final outcast tribunal. So there are some things here like these power advantages. Safety amulet, that's what it's called, so they can keep you safe. You can find them out on the island. You can find food items to restore your health. There's obviously events here that like take away your health on certain contestants as well. So there's so many events that can throw spanners in works, can cause you to have to defer your strategy or deter you from doing a certain strategy. So that's kind of what's fun and unique about the game, is that there's so many different elements and twists to it. So you have daily meal, so each round comes with the arrival of meal and news of what to expect, but prepare to expect the unexpected and make full use of the opportunity to strategize and form alliances with your fellow players. So this is kind of cool as well. If like there's friendship groups that might range from like 4 to 9, which isn't a full game of Survivor, but this allows you to have 2 to 3 contestant cards and be able to have a full game of Survivor and experience the strategy and the blind sides and the backstabbing element of Survivor, while again not having the full amount of numbers to have a traditional Survivor season. Again, Survivor seasons typically range from 16 to 20, so for that friendship group, that this might be a game that's very appealing to them. So there's also challenges. Challenges are where you get to test your team's mettle. Are you challenge based or are you carrying dead weight? One thing is for certain, the losers will be voting someone out. So as you can see here, this is one of like the challenges that I alluded to earlier, where you need a strength stat of 8, you need an endurance stat of 5, you need like a patience stat of 4 to be able to get through all these different elements of like these basically relay race sort of Survivor challenges that are obviously inspired by the show. So if you can't do any of these challenges with your contestant, then you lose a health, and then I believe the determining factor is whoever lost the least amount of health in the challenge wins the challenge. So if you are someone that isn't able to match up with these elements, then your contestants are going to get injured, and then obviously your opponent's going to win the challenge as well. So it's a double negative, and then that could affect tribal council as well, where you could have someone that's very good in the challenges, but then because of the fact that they're so injured they could get medevaced, you might just have to put them out of their misery, which we've seen on Survivor historically, like Austin, Moana in Champions vs Contenders 2, just to name a few examples. So tribunal twists: if you value your life in the game, then the Outcast Tribunal is a place you never want to visit, but playing any one of these cards will cause the vote to take an unexpected turn. So we have some of these, like read before the vote, read after the vote, so you have to pick up the card, you have to flip it with your hand over the bottom section, and then read the little dialogue at the top, which tells you whether you had to read it after the vote or read it before the vote. So there's things like lucky shot, paint to target, so these can definitely influence the votes and kind of throw a spanner in the works. So we have the merge here. This is where things get really devious, and to make the gameplay even more challenging, you'll be introduced to 2 new set of merge cards. So yep, there's new merge cards here as well that change the dynamics. Glad to see that there's one here down here called the Survivor Auction, and then there's obviously other Survivor elements such as letters from home. There's meat shield strategies that are here that give you an advantage, and then there's just sort of like idle life stuff like zoning out, so that can affect your health as well. And there's not just strategy to outplaying other contestants, there's also strategy to how do you manage these cards and maybe turn a negative into a positive, or try to diminish the issues that a negative card can cause. So we have the Castaways. 18 characters are stranded on the island, and they're competing to be the ultimate castaway. So I think that's pretty much everything. So again, 18 contestants in this game. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So go to the bottom here, and then this is basically, if you want to pause the video, this is what people are saying about the video here now, and their sort of talks about how things are going. I've never felt so young being 21. So this is the video here. It is uploaded to YouTube. I'm not sure if I can get the YouTube link. It's all available here anyway in this how to play section, so you can just check it out with the link in the description. It's weird, the videos on my second channel, like the links, like I can't link them, but I have to like refresh the video because I have put through my identification, but I don't know, YouTube's just being weird as per usual. So we do have these sorts of things here, like the cards, and they've got them all laid out. And then you have to shuffle up the cards and be able to put them into their stacks. Again, I've watched this entire video. I'd highly recommend, if you are considering watching this, well, if you are considering purchasing this item, or if you want to like delve more into the game and investigate a little bit further, I highly recommend you watch this video. It's basically a 10-minute video, well, nearly 10-minute video, that's detailing all the events and how this happens, and they have some really good editing that allows you to sort of see where all the mechanics lie and how to play the game. So this is still loading up for me, but hopefully that is a bit of a general breakdown. So if you are interested in this game, this could be a good Christmas gift. This could be a good gift if you're going to get reunited with friends who are into Survivor. Personally, for me, I'll probably wait a little bit to get this game, just because I think they have said that international shipping, I mean, if you have free shipping towards Northern Ireland, I won't complain, but I feel like they said international shipping, they're still trying to set it up because they're obviously a smaller company, so if there is demand there for the international shipping, they will do it. So just if you're international like myself, beware of that fact. But this is something that I'll probably get around October time, because I'm trying to get so many of my friends interested into Survivor and Survivor UK, sort of that gateway, if you will, to get them into the Survivor world. I've been talking to them years about Survivor, and they know I'm into Survivor. It's super cool that some of them check out the content, even though they don't really know what I'm talking about, but they always tell me that they like the editing and like they like my commentary, so that's super heartwarming and very kind. I don't think many of them watch the second channel, but you know, if you do, shout out to you, because you're all awesome. But this will definitely be a game that, once I get my friend group interested into Survivor, again, they're all into card games, I'm into card games, so this will be something that I think will definitely interest them. But thank you all for watching this video. If you do have any more information about the product, or if you do have any questions that I might be able to answer, again, I just have read through all of this, so again, there might not be questions that I know, but you can always ask, and then if I do know the answer, I will say. Or if you just want to share your general thoughts about the game, say if you're excited for it, or if there's any sorts of elements that you're excited for, then please comment down below, because that means a lot. If you haven't already, subscribed to the channel, because we cover so much Survivor news. Honestly, we are drowning in Survivor news right now. Survivor 46 I still need to make a video on. There are Survivor UK that shortly will be coming out. I'll be doing a cast breakdown, and I'll be doing recaps as well. We have Survivor 45 that's going to be on our screens. We've got Big Brother UK. We have so much content to be talking on the channel, so that is something that I'm sure will be enticing you. I'm certainly excited for it, so stay tuned for that. If you do want to see another video on the channel, then we actually talk about Survivor South Africa over here on this video, and about how it's now been cancelled, and after Return of the Outcast, Mnet have just dropped the season for an indefinite amount of time, and I sort of talk about if it could be picked up, changes that could be made to the format, why I personally am a bit upset that Survivor South Africa isn't on our TV screens for right now, and things you can do to get it on our TV screen. So if that's a video that interests you, if you're into International Survivor, bit of a tongue twister, then make sure to check that video out. But thank you for watching this video so much. Have a good day, and peace.